So the most important question in the stock market right now is, did I miss the dip? Is it too late to buy the dip? The answer is no. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through crystal clearly exactly why it's not too late, exactly what you could capitalize on, and exactly how to put your mindset in the right place. Because look, I get it. Nobody wants to see volatility in their accounts, but this is just simply part of the game. This is part of 2026 as being a adult stock market investor, right? And speaking of that, we see people already getting margin called, already getting wiped out. This is one of the most famous hedge fund guys as of 2 days ago, but now he's not. He's wiped out. He lost 67% in a month. So, understanding the things that I'm going to say in this video, honestly, if he would have just watched the ones that I've been putting out in this video too, he wouldn't have gotten wiped out because we're going to capitalize on this volatility. We're not going to stress out and panic on it. He basically got margin called at the perfect bottom right here. And I know that a lot of people did too, especially like this. Like, look at the Korean market. There's been so much volatility and so much over leverage over there. The Korean market fell almost 40% in just a couple weeks. So, when you understand this stuff, you'll notice that this is not something breaking in the stock market. This is not the AI trade is bad. This is not the stock market as a bubble. This is simply people that made a lot of money on the way up. They got a little bit too cute, a little bit overly optimistic. And then when the market started to fall, they were over leveraged and they had to close out their positions and get wiped out. That's not how we're going to play games here. That's like the way that dum-dums do it, right? We're all here to make money, so let's cover it. This is some signal right here. This report literally just came out like 3 minutes before I'm recording this video here. So check this out. This is pretty big. This shows us the earnings scorecard for how companies are reporting earnings so far for the S&P 500. Like I said, this literally just came out. We care about the earnings and how the company's profits are because that's where the market's going to go in the long term. The market's going to follow where the profits are at. So for Q2 of 2026, 61% of the S&P 500 reported earnings so far. Of that 61%, 86% beat earnings per share expectations and 77% beat revenue expectations. Think about that. That is good. We're blowing it out of the water this earnings season so far. And meanwhile, the market has been falling a little bit and it's like, oh my God, we have this great growth and the market's falling. Like, what better world do you want to have than good growth, good companies when they're on sale? But, as it usually goes, most people find a way to not buy. And, those are the same people that probably underperform the market in the long term. But just by looking at this, saying that companies are beating earnings expectations, that really doesn't say enough. We need to know the actual number of how good the actual earnings per share growth is. Guess what? It's probably the best I've ever seen in my life, and I've been investing for over 12 years in the stock market and beating the S&P for that whole time. 47.4% year over year is the current earnings per share growth rate. Absolutely bonkers. The average is 8 to 10% per year, and that is why the S&P averages about 10% per year in the long term. Where the earnings per share goes is where the market is likely to go. Now, there is problems with this. This is not fully true real earnings, which we'll cover that in a second, but even at that, this is still very, very strong. So looking at this really strong earnings per share growth, how is the valuation level of the market right now? Like, if we have most companies beating and the growth is really good, that is great, but we still got to make sure we're getting good companies at a good price. Let's go down to valuation right here. Looking at the valuation level for the S&P 500, the price earnings ratio level is 19.6. That is actually below the 5-year average of 19.9, but above the 10-year average of 19. So what does that mean? It means that you're getting a lot of growth and you're not really paying a premium for that growth right now. In English, there's opportunity in the stock market. In English, in my previous video, I literally said, this is a good time to start allocating. And right now, honestly, it might even be better based on the companies that I'm going to show you here in just a minute. And of course, this chart too, it literally just updated. Look at this. Look at the perfect correlation. Where the darker earnings per share line goes is where the S&P 500 is going to go. Now these lines, I'll zoom in for you. Can you see it? They're basically overlapped right there. What does that mean going forward from here? It means that the market is basically at fair value. And when the market is at fair value, when earnings per share growth is as strong as it is right now, use your imagination to think where you think the market's going to go. I mean, this darker line is EPS. If the market and EPS are at the same spot to start, if EPS continues on this trajectory right here, this is a 10-year chart, so 1 year to here, another half year after that, whatever, year and a half from here is somewhere up here. Like, do you see where the market is likely to go? Do you see the money that could potentially be made? Like, I usually don't talk this bullish on this channel. Of course, nothing is for sure, nothing is guaranteed, but it's like if the EPS growth continues, the market is very, very likely to continue and follow that up and to the right. And the single stocks that we're going to look at, they're probably going to follow that too, right? So I'm bullish right now. We'll just leave it at that. Now, looking at a couple other things really quick. This is what most retail investors look at. They look at, oh man, like there's fear in the market. I don't know. I don't want to invest right now. Like I'm scared. Well, how does that usually pan out to be? If you look at the put call ratio, you'll notice that the more that people buy puts, the higher the chart goes, the more people are buying puts. The more people that are hedging their portfolios when they're fearful, they almost perfectly time the bottom of the market. Look at right here what just literally happened. This is maybe a local bottom right here in the market. Take a look at this. Do you see how the put call ratio was spiking? It wasn't as bad as here, but it was definitely spiking. So people are hedging their portfolios at the worst possible time, and they're just letting the headlines of the fear and the nervousness and the market falling just consume them and not actually capitalize on what actually matters to capitalize on. Let's keep progressing through. I know we're covering a lot right now. I'm throwing a lot at you, but at the end, I'm going to summarize it, bring it all together in a way that makes sense, and you're going to get a lot of value from this, I promise. Right here, again, 1 year chart of the S&P 500, which is the orange line, versus where the fear greed index is at. What do you notice here? When there's more fear in the market on a blue line, does that usually almost literally perfectly mark the bottom of the market? Like, I mean this when I say it. When there is fear and blood in the streets, that is when you want to get more bullish on good companies at good prices. That does not mean you buy a company for $100 a share when the fair value is $50 a share. Like so many people say, well, Brandon, the stock was 200, it fell to 100, I'm going to buy it, it's off 50%. But in reality, fair value might be 50 and you still overpaid for the stock. Okay, moving on to the next chart. People will say, well, Brandon, this is like a tech bubble, not like an S&P 500 bubble or whatever. Like this is like .com style crash that we're going to get right now. And this little bounce we're seeing, which I know I'm covering it, this little bounce behind me, yeah, Brandon, that's a fake out. That's, we're still a bubble. And I'm going to say, okay, let's look at the data. This is the NASDAQ 100 forward price earnings ratio level going all the way back to the .com crash. What does this say for July of 2001? 99.7 was the price earnings ratio level for the NASDAQ back then. Where are we at right now? 21.34. We are not even remotely in the ballpark. We are not even close to a bubble versus what this was right here. We're actually cheaper right now than what it was on the bottom of the 2022 market. And we know that the NASDAQ ran up like over 100% from the bottom of the market right here. So again, building into the thesis that the ROI going forward from here could be pretty good. Few more charts, then we're going to get into the companies. I just want to lay the land for you guys so you can figure out and understand like what I'm saying before I give you, the things I'm looking at. So the blue line here is Signal. This is year-to-date earnings per share growth on the S&P 500. Earnings per share is going like this. The S&P 500 is starting to diverge away from that. And when it does diverge, the price earnings ratio level falls. So P ratio is falling and EPS is going up and to the right like this. That should make you more bullish. When these are diverging away from each other, this means the market is getting cheaper and the profits are growing very, very strong. And when that happens, the future expected returns from this point are usually pretty darn good. Looking at this chart right here, where do we think the earnings per share growth is going to be going into the future? Pretty darn good if you ask me. You could see 2026, we're expecting somewhere around 27%. 2027 is obviously a little bit slower, around 17%, but it's still very, very good. This is still very good growth when the average is about 8 to 10% per year, like I said. So I think the years coming ahead in the stock market are going to be pretty good. And one last thing before the company's official final chart right here. This shows you where the price earnings ratio level is for the S&P going back to 1986. Right now, we're just a whiff below 20, but we're at 20 at a time that interest rates are okay. The Federal Reserve is likely not going to raise interest rates, even though people think he is going to. I don't think he's going to. I think Kevin Warsh is so much more dovish, like more bullish than what people think. So interest rates are okay, the economy is okay, valuations overall are okay, and earnings per share growth is absolutely explosive. And a lot of companies reporting earnings right now, their earnings per share is actually depressed a little bit because they're spending so much on CapEx. They're spending so much to build out their AI data centers. So when that CapEx spending slows down and they actually monetize it, EPS growth is likely to accelerate even more going from here potentially. And it's just, you're probably going to wish that you bought more when you look forward, when you go forward a few years and then look back, you're probably going to wish that you bought more. Okay, let's look at a few companies. We'll take a quick glance at my stock sheet here too, but let's cover some of the companies that recently reported earnings. We'll hit them high level here. Apple stock. At the time of recording this video, the stock is down about 9%. Why is that? Why is the stock getting smoked so hard? It's honestly just because you're paying 34 times trailing earnings, that's a PE ratio, for slowish growth. The stock is just simply too expensive. There's nothing wrong with Apple. The demand is great. I listened to the entire earnings call and broke it all down in Discord. Like, the company is okay. It's just simply too expensive, and why you got to get a good company at a good price to make it a good investment. Take a look at Amazon. Very, very good growth, good price earnings ratio level, with the caveat that a lot of this growth rate here is because of their private investment that they made in Anthropic. Kind of like what I said in a previous video with Google. Google has private investments in SpaceX, which SpaceX is not public, but that's helping propel Amazon's earnings per share higher. But Amazon said some pretty bullish things about AI, in my opinion. Their spending is likely to get a humongous ROI, and the years going ahead for Amazon are likely to be very, very good. So when you could buy a good company at a good price and simply be patient with it and do long duration options like portfolio secured puts and leap call options, 1 year out minimum for each of those for expiration date, you're likely to do fine. So Amazon right now, like, it's $270 a share. What I would consider doing is maybe selling a put, maybe go out 2 years, do it portfolio secured, not cash secured, and go for like a 220 strike. So if Amazon is 220 or higher 2 years from right now, the contract is going to expire worthless, and you simply pick up all that cash flow right now. Of course, portfolio secured, not cash secured, meaning when I go look at my brokerage account, there's absolutely zero cash in this account. It's all invested in the S&P, the NASDAQ, and great individual companies at good prices. That is what is securing my portfolio secured puts. And even if this market and this account were to fall 50%, I'm still going to be okay. I'm going to be nowhere near a margin call, and I'm going to be nowhere near ending up like this guy right here. My ratios are always going to be in check. So just like a little sample trade right there on Amazon, I think you would do good on it potentially. Let's take a look at Microsoft. Microsoft reported they have been ripping. Earnings per share has been growing. That looks good so far. And I'm going to be honest with you, I made a lot of money on Microsoft recently. We started allocating down here. I bought some shares, sold some puts. I did close out some of my sold puts just because it's not as compelling now, but it is still a pretty good buy in my opinion. So Microsoft is definitely on the radar. We all know that I've been allocated to Meta for some time. Look, I know that Meta is down, but I've been telling everybody on this channel that Meta is a long duration play that you have to simply be patient with. Go listen to the earnings call yourself. You will become very, very bullish on the company. And I do think that if I were to extend this chart, we're somewhere near the bottom, and I do think the stock is going to rebound pretty sharply in the coming years. And of course, why in this account, I only do long duration stock options, because I have no idea what these stocks are going to do in the short term, right? I am a long-term investor, and that is how I beat the stock market in the long term. And my risk management and ratios are so within check, like I said, that even if the market falls 50%, I'm going to be just fine. Okay, let's take a look at another company. Let's look at SoFi. So I know a lot of people have been asking me about this one in the comments, so let's look at it now. If we look at the chart right here, obviously SoFi has been on a little bit of a dip. Why is that? Because the company is too expensive. In order to get a good investment, you need to get a good company at a good price. Example, Apple. The stock is too expensive. Growth on SoFi is slowing down. The revenue growth is 39% year over year. It's slowing down, and you're still paying 34 times trailing earnings. I think the stock is pretty close to fair value right now, but I think there's more compelling setups out there, so I'm not going to be allocating to SoFi. If we take a look at next week, I know that AMD reports earnings next week. This is a company that is a great company, but is not at a good price. 106 times trailing earnings for AMD, when you could go scoop up NVIDIA for 34 times trailing earnings with better top line, better bottom line, better profit margins, and better product overall. So I think that NVIDIA is kind of like a sleeping giant right now. Next week, we also have PLTR, the big bad Palantir. Take a look at this one. Textbook. Stock runs up a lot. Everyone thinks it's going to keep going to Pluto and they just want to go leverage out. They get smoked. The stock starts consolidating and it shocks everybody like, oh my God, the market's rigged against me. Like, why did this happen? I know exactly why it happened. It's trading at 128 times trailing earnings right now, even after the dip. I'm not saying Palantir is a bad company. It's just simply a little bit too expensive. And for the few people that made it to the end of this video, I want to show you my stock sheet. This is for Discord people. It's always updated in real time for them. This is basically like my watch list is how you should think about it. And it's ranked based on, the worst companies on the bottom, which I'm assuming some of you guys are invested in some of these. And usually they're just companies that have a bad valuation, bad growth. They don't have a moat, meaning like the competition's crushing them. And it's really that simple. So these ones down here I don't allocate to, but the ones up here towards the top, I am definitely starting to allocate to. I'm buying shares, I'm doing long duration portfolio secure puts, and I'm buying calls. This is kind of like my bullish hierarchy right here, where it's like, if I'm bullish, I buy shares, super, super bullish, I sell puts, and max bullishness, I will go buy calls. And yeah, the fact that the market's down a little bit, there's starting to be a lot of opportunities popping up right now. And towards the top of that stock sheet, those are some of my most compelling trades right now. So yeah, look, that's the video right there. I tried to tell everybody in the last video that this dip was largely justified because the valuations were a little bit hot coming into this year. And even, after this Iran rally. But now that the market came back a little bit, it's like, well, wait, why did the market fall? Why are we crashing? But it's like, it's simply just because fair value was here and the market was here. That's all that's happening. So don't overcomplicate it. Don't try to read some article online to confirm your bias that the market's crashing and it's going to keep crashing because there's just some negative article that came out. The market's going to follow profits in the long term. Always has, always will. And when we're starting down here roughly at fair value, there's a handful of great companies at good prices right now, which I covered a few, and I go back and look at the stock sheet. There's a few companies right now that are likely to crush it going forward from right here. And a patient investor that keeps their pants on and keeps their ratios in check to be able to do okay through this volatility are going to be the ones that realize the profits, and those are going to be the ones that do well in the future. So it's really that simple. If you got value, like, subscribe, hype, drop a comment, do all the good stuff if you want. Check out the link in the video description, 10-day stocks and options transformation training. You get my course, my Discord, my stock sheet, access to me in real time, my whole portfolio, my trades, etc. You will love it. Hundreds of 5-star reviews that'll blow you away. And if you don't want to do that, that's fine. Go watch the video right here. It'll help you more with how I do my stock option system, and I'll see you guys there.